Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the PMD Tea Buyers Club. I'm your host, Anja Silva. I'm sitting here with golden tips. Now, I didn't talk to most of you guys for pretty much all of last year, but some of you might have seen me on TV, not on YouTube, but on terrestrial TV or cable satellite, because we were interviewed by a few news outlets and got some global press for our golden tips tea that's being served at the Rubens Hotel. I've got some new samples. Some of you who are following us online would have seen that I've just come back from Sri Lanka. I landed yesterday, back to a cold London, and I've got some samples that I brought up with me because I didn't have time to taste them while I was in Sri Lanka. So these are two golden tip samples, the two new ones that I've been sent. I did a lot of tasting of golden tips while I was out there. Sadly, none of them hit the kind of standard quality that we want for our white teas, and in fact, not just the golden tips, but the silver tips as well. Tasted a lot of samples, but some of them are so far off the mark. I mean, it's not even worth even doing a video for you on them. But I've got two teas here. I'm eager to try them. The only reason why I'm doing this video is because the cups look good and the infusions look good, and I'll explain why I think they look good, and I'll explain also which one of these I would potentially buy, and I'll give you my thoughts on them. So let's start. These are both high-grown estates. I'm going to call this Estate A and Estate B. Some of you have seen in the previous episodes that we've done, I always give you the names of the estates. Well, this time I'm keeping them hidden because there's not enough good golden tips going around, and we need to keep our source hidden from the rest of the industry. So let's call this Estate A, Estate B. Both are high-growns that we've been sent. So if we actually first have a look at the leaf, there is a nice amount of... the leaf looks nice, it's not too black. When you buy golden tips or when you buy silver tip white teas, you don't want to have these black, pieces in your tea. The black bits are actually it's an example of poor plucking. It's also an example of where that leaf is oxidized. You want just the bud. So for example, here, this is what you want in your golden tip tea. This is just the bud, picked first thing in the morning, and hand picked and then dipped in a special tea. This is how you make golden tips. So both leaves look good. Let's actually look at the infusions. Now, sample A, infusion looks very bright, very clean, and the aroma, actually just smelling it from here, you can already get a very nice aroma coming out of this. So if you smell this, there's a lot of honey, there's a lot of fresh flowers coming from this, fruits. This is a wonderful, wonderful smell, this one here. Nice big nose, really what you want from golden tips. And the golden tips currently are being served at the Rubens Hotel opposite Buckingham Palace. And when you have your golden tips experience, this is something that you actually get to go through. You get to unlock your box, you get to see the tea, you get to see it weighed out. Again, for these cups, we've used 2 grams of tea. Here, in sample B, there's less of a nose. It's not as pronounced as this one. This is far more pronounced. This is a little more subtle. It doesn't have that big fruity nose to it, but you can smell the floral note coming through in this. Much more floral, not as fruity, not as big, doesn't have a big bouquet to it. If you look at the two cups, well, sample A is far, far lighter, much lighter in cup color, beautiful golden cup, you can see right down into the bottom of it. Sample B, far darker, much, much darker. Again, it's bright, it's clear. These infusions are very different from the infusions that I've been seeing just two days ago when I was tasting some golden tip teas. The golden tips that I was seeing there, infusions are dark black. They literally look black. They don't have this clear, bright infused color to it. They are virtually black, and you then taste that poorly made character in the cup as well. A lot of the golden tips that I was trying was very musty. It was tasting off, lacking flavor. Aromas are non-existent, and if they are existent, they're unpleasant. Completely the opposite end of the spectrum. So this is the very small niche part of golden tips that are made that's actually good and of good quality. Let's have a taste. I'm going to start with sample A. Let's have a look at this one. Sample A, very nice, first infusion. You can brew both these teas 2-3 times, which is what I'll be doing after I finish this video, just to see how the infusion holds over the next 2 to 3 infusions. We've brewed these for 5 minutes, for 3 minutes, and within 3 minutes you're getting a wonderful flavour coming out in this tea. It's very fruity. First infusion of Golden Tips always has this velvety character to it, very velvety. It almost caresses your tongue. It's almost like you're touching velvet, but imagine doing that with your mouth. Very fruity, a wonderful honey type flavour sits in your mouth. This is a very, very well made cup of Golden Tips. I'm very impressed by this, and the nose on this is absolutely fantastic. If we compare this to sample B, much darker, even the infusion's slightly darker, nothing like the poor ones that I've seen. Well, if we try this, how does this taste? In cup, they're worlds apart. This is far, far better. A lot more flavour to it, a lot more character, a lot more velvetiness, a lot more fruitiness to it. Here, it just lacks something. It lacks, first of all, it lacks that velvetiness on the palate. It lacks the velvetiness on the palate. It lacks that fruity aroma that you look for. It lacks for the sweetness that you look for. There's streaks ahead. This is like Liverpool in the Premiership right now, and this is like the rest of the Premier League. 30 points ahead, streaking for its first title win. Yes, I'm a Reds fan, and this is everybody else. For me, it's hands down. It's this sample. This is what's going to be going off to the Rubens. If you want to try Golden Tips, book yourselves in for afternoon tea at the Rubens Hotel. If you want to try something similar to Golden Tips, something that's a little bit more affordable and something that you can have shipped to your door, try out our Silver Tips. Again, a similar type leaf to what you find here in the Golden Tips. Has that velvetiness as well, not as much as what you find in the Golden Tips, but still a very, very nice white tea. You can find that on the website. I'll link it down here. So if you're looking for an afternoon tea experience for next month, check out Golden Tips at the Rubens. If you're looking for a white tea experience at home, check out our Silver Tips.